approaches you're talking about and you taking in order to, I guess, put paid to women in child abuse?
Thank you very much, Blaine. First of all, one must take this opportunity and pass the condolences to a lot of people in South Africa, especially our women, children who have been killed, their families. And we want to say we have made a decision as a church or religious leaders to be radical. During the times where in South Africa we are speaking about the radical this, the radical this, I believe we need a radical church that is not going to end up within the four walls of the church, but we believe that it's high time to go out there and fight on the road. As much as we have seen that in South Africa, people will learn to understand things when we come out of our cocoons and say it's over now. We have buried enough children. We have buried enough women that are killed by lovers. We have buried enough police. We have buried a lot of people who are not supposed to be dying anyway. So we will always get a destabilized country if we don't do anything as a church. We feel and we have a role to play, and that is why we make this clarion call that every religious leader must stand up. It's time for us to be seen that we are not silent at this time. As you know that if good people are quiet, it will mean that the evil will prevail. So we are saying no to evil. We are there to stop it. And we believe that with our God on our side, it is possible.
You talk about being radical. What are these radical methods that you're talking about? You're saying going out to the streets and fighting. What do you mean?
Well, I believe, obviously, we are not police who are fighting fire by fire, but I believe that we have a responsibility. One of the things that we need to embark on, we are embarking on actually here in South Africa, as we are building ourselves into a stronger organization as a religious group. We believe that the religious group was in the forefront in stopping and uprooting apartheid. We believe that the church is in the forefront. We need to use radical ways to fight, as I have said. I believe that one of the things that we need to inculcate in South Africa is the spirit of patriotism, which is seriously lacking. I think people in South Africa, the community of South Africa, has got an element of anger that you don't understand where it comes from. There is racism that is still going on in South Africa that we do as if it does not exist. We still have all this type of violence that is taking place. We as religious leaders, we run organizations, if I can use it in that language, every Sunday or every Saturday in the synagogue or every Friday in the mosque. We've got a group of people who are gathered there spreading a message of peace, spreading a message of love. But people will never be converted and be changed into being patriotic South Africans who are prepared to build a new South Africa in reality if we end up in our synagogues, if we end up in our churches, we are not found on the road amongst the people. Let us remember that when people are going out to burn the school, when people are out there to burn the road or blockage the road, amongst those people, hundreds and thousands of them are church members. And it's high time that we as leaders, we need to stand up and say, not in our time, because one day our generation will curse us instead of blessing us if we are keeping quiet in what is going on in South Africa. I want to emphasize that in South Africa there is law, but we seem to be having chaos every day, and we need to do something about that as a church.
You know, on that vein, we as journalists report almost on a daily basis about murders, abuse, corruption. Some say we need a spiritual and moral revival of society, I guess. How do you plan to do this? How do you think we can do this as a society?
Well, we are going to involve ourselves. We have started what we call one nation, one voice. We want to inculcate that spirit of oneness. We want to inculcate the spirit of people of South Africa speaking in one voice. As I have alluded, on the 30th, we are going to be doing a massive march where we come together as religious leaders. It's going to be a very different march because it's going to be peaceful, but it's going to be a march that is making a statement that says, if you are a criminal, you don't belong to our society. If you are a rapist, you don't belong to our society. If we as South Africans can speak as one nation, can speak in one voice, I believe that we will do the part that is recommended from us, from our God Almighty. We are doing this campaign. We are going to do our marches. We are going to visit even the prisons. We want the people who are committing these crimes to begin to speak out and begin to be the ones who are going to heal our nation. Our nation needs healing. But I believe that politicians cannot do it on their own. I believe that churches cannot do it on their own. We need to work together. If Minister Begicele is going to be able to stop crime, is not going to do it alone. He needs the society. And I believe that the religious groups and the churches where we are, we've got the society that must take part in making sure and ensuring that we rebuild our country. Plain, if you quote in Durban here, there has been an incident where a young man went into a rest of the students of Mangosuthu and killed a girl there with dangerous weapons. One question we should ask is that, are we going to see these incidents going on and then we begin to march when a person appears in prison? Or must we be a solution and begin to discuss these measures and begin to have symposiums and begin to have debate? Are we really free in South Africa as we are saying that we are free? Let us involve young people to begin to talk about these matters. If young people of 1976 were able to change the mindset of South Africa, I believe the young people must also be given an opportunity to be marching, to be talking peace, to be leading in all structures that are talking about the safety and their well-being. Yes, on the 30th of June, we are going to start with a massive march, but every month we are going to do a program in different places where we are going to say the church is there, the religious people are there, we are going to speak with one voice. We are going to speak as one nation. We are going to bring in patriotism. People must begin to love their country. Plain, I've been in Rwanda recently. People who are coming from genocide of 1994. But when you walk those streets, you realize that they have been able to mend all the fractures. They are beginning to speak with one voice. Why can't we learn from other Africans what they have done? We cannot continue like this. If we are not angry about what is going on today, I believe that we are not going to do anything. If you wake up in the morning, you see a newspaper saying a father has raped a child, and you see a newspaper saying there was a car hijacking, we cannot simply take that as news. It means that we must be angry as South Africans and we must rise up. We must do something about it. That is what we believe in, and that is why we are inciting churches and young people to get into the road and say enough is enough.
I hear what you're saying. I guess the sentiment is that, government, there's only so much that government can do, and I guess communities also need to play their part. Tell us about this campaign and who is involved in it. We have started with the religious leaders here in Durban, but our intention is to bring in the council here in Durban. We have invited Metro here in Durban because they are close to all these criminal scenarios. We have also inviting the victims. There are many people there playing who are silent, who are scared to speak about this thing. We are inviting them. We say, let us all come out. Let us speak with one voice. Let us speak as a nation. We are inviting all the NGOs. We are even inviting the police themselves to come and join us. We are inviting all other religious leaders. And this time, we cannot continue to speak the language of one group which meets in the synagogue and one group that meets in the church. We need to come together, all of us, irrespective of our ideologies, and begin to speak in one voice. We are leading the campaign as EThekwini Community Church under the banner of one voice, one nation, but we invite every element of the society to take part in this. Because when people are dying plain, they do not, we are not saying it's a person that belongs to a certain group. I've said this, and I know sometimes people will say it's controversial. I've said the politicians have done their part.
it is coming to a point where they cannot be able to do anymore. They need us. The politicians need us. I don't believe that any political organization will be able to put our country at a pedestal where we are going to see peace, where we are going to see patriotism, where we are going to see love, where people are going to raise the flag and the banner of South Africa and say, we are South Africans, we are standing together, we want our country to be a peaceful country. I don't think the politicians can do that all by themselves. And that is why, as religious leaders, we need to stand up. We need to stand up, not yesterday, now. Because this is going to affect our children, it's going to affect our generations.
Bishop, as always, thank you very much indeed for your time. That was Bishop Vusi Dube joining us from our Durban studios. Quick break, we'll be back in a short while. Stay with us.